Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a video of Coco's progress over, I think it's about 5 days of work. The first 4 days will be a voiceover because I didn't have my mic, but day 5 I did have my mic, so I was able to talk through what I was doing when I was doing it. In no means am I an expert, but this is what I've been doing with him, and he's been improving, so I thought I'd share it with you.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about a feature.
Okay, so I'm not going to voice over the whole thing, but I will do bits and bobs here and there. The first day kind of consisted of asking him the question of, can you go in? And if he even gave so much as a step or changed his body weight forward as if he was sinking in the box, I'd take the pressure off, and that makes it really clear for him what I'm asking of him, but also giving him a bit of responsibility of how far he wants to go and how far he's comfortable to go. Instantly take the pressure off when he gives a correct answer, but also what's really important is knowing when to take the pressure off and how much pressure you can apply, because to start with, if I'd applied too much pressure on the head collar, he'd throw his head in the air. I mean, throughout the sessions he's become a lot less resistant on his head collar, but that took a bit of time. But it is just learning how much pressure, and all horses need different amounts. Some horses need a little bit more, some horses need even less because it's too much to ask of them. There you can see that I made the mistake of asking for a little bit too much, but it's fine. I asked him to go back in, and he had a nice lick and chew, so he obviously processed however that made him feel, which is really good, because sometimes horses can completely shut down, just get really, really stuck. But for him to go, oh, that worried me a bit, but then process, that's really good. And also the fact he didn't panic anymore, he went straight back in. But anyway, back to asking him the question. Now, okay, I know he's pouring, but he was still kind of thinking in the box, which is good. Here is a really key point: yawning and licking and chewing. So he was obviously letting out a lot of releasing some tension, and possibly just processing whatever makes him not feel like he can go in the box. I think it's a little bit maybe claustrophobia and protecting himself, I'm not sure, but something he wasn't sure about, and it did worry him. Now, some people might say he wasn't scared. In his own way, I think he has his own anxieties, and I do think certain things worry him, because where we've been working and things like that, I have found things with the box that do worry him, like putting the top down when it's all closed up. He gets a bit worried. So actually there are things he didn't feel comfortable with. So taking this hour on the ramp, asking him the same question, can you think about going in? Not getting cross, but just staying nice and relaxed. The licking and chewing and the processing said a lot for itself, because there were a lot more moments of the yawning and the licking and chewing than what I've put in, because it's obviously limited to how much I could put in, otherwise it would be 5 hours long. But yeah, there a little bit of resistance on the head collar, but he still went forward, so still released. So here he gets a little bit of resistance on the head collar, gets a little bit worried. I may have applied a bit too much pressure, but I softly asked him to go back in, and he did, so then I rewarded him by allowing him to go back. So the end of this session sort of ended on a lot of licking and chewing, yawning, as you can see here, and he didn't go in the box, he didn't get his back feet on the ramp, but all this yawning and licking and chewing was a lot, and clearly he was processing a lot in his little head. So that was sort of it for day 1. Okay, so day 2, he was a lot more willing, and he did eventually put his back feet on the ramp. I don't think I got too much footage, I can't remember. But one thing I did want to say is I didn't use any food apart from his hay net, so I didn't use any treats to bribe him, buckets of feed. When I was building his confidence, I wanted that to come from him really just wanting to go in the box and being happy with the box, rather than thinking, oh, food, I'll go in. So he had his hay net in there, but nothing else. But as you can see, his body weight has completely changed. He's leaning in. Comes back out, but we just reapproach, shorten up my lead rope and just ask him again. And I swapped between asking from behind my body with the stick and in front, just because I felt like if I kept looking at him and looking at his feet, that puts a bit of, that sort of directs my energy and could potentially block him. So I sort of kind of opened it up by not looking at him. But that was the first time he went in, and I was just absolutely over the moon because it took about, I'd say, 20 minutes, whereas the day before I spent an hour and he didn't offer that. So there was definitely a change in him. I asked him to come out, and that is where we left the session. Once he'd gone in once, that is where I left it, because I wanted that to be the last sort of thing he was thinking about, and I didn't want to push him too far. I also like doing the ramp up and the top down when he's with me, because then he can see it from the outside, and if he's slightly worried about it, he can watch it from the outside before it happens when he's inside the box. So day 3 was again a massive change in how he felt, and he was giving a completely different feeling. He felt really, I was able to ask quite a lot of him. I felt I could apply a bit more pressure and he'd react correctly. And he seemed a lot more curious about the box, and he wanted to sort of investigate more. So this is obviously quite a short clip, but he was stood sniffing around for probably about 5-10 minutes. As you can see, I just cut it because it was a very long time. So then I asked him to come out because I loved the fact he was curious. Gave him a little bit of a break to kind of think about things and process. So again, I didn't apply too much pressure, kind of kept everything the same. I'd let him have a sniff around, and if I felt like I could ask, I would, but I sort of kind of left it up to him, really, because I felt the change. In him. You can see he still wants to keep his bottom out because he's just a bit unsure about putting his bum in, because that obviously means I'm able to shut the partition, and there was a bit of anxiety around moving his bum over into that corner. I think he possibly felt a bit vulnerable. Him going in was a big achievement in itself. I knew that once he built his confidence going in, I'd then be able to start working on moving the hindquarters over. But I wasn't in any rush to do that, because I did ask him, I think, once on this day, and he came out backwards because it was just too much for him to think about at that time. So we just carried on working on the approaching the box, going in, coming back out, and slowly worked on moving his hindquarters over, but that came, I think, more in day 4. So there you can see he resisted a little bit, so I just kind of asked him again, and he had a lick and chew. He must have been processing something, and I just put a little bit too much pressure on, but that's okay because he went in, and he wasn't worried still. So again, I've cut out bits in between, otherwise the video would be extremely long, but I think this is one of his lick and chews, one of his moments where he was processing something. Yeah, so there you can, if you look closely, he has a nice lick and chew, and clearly thinking about what he's doing, which is really nice. And I suppose throughout the entire video, the point is, I'll ask the question gently and wait for his response, and if I don't feel like I need to ask and he's thinking, I leave him alone. And here I actually didn't have to ask too much, and you can see by his body language, actually he was thinking of going in anyway. He had a good old sniff around. So here I get him used to my hand being on his hindquarters before I actually ask the question of moving over. And when I ask the question, I like to have a flexion with my right hand to get his head kind of bending, and that kind of helps him understand he needs to move his bottom over. And he did it. And so this is where we left the session, because when I had asked that question previously, he had just reversed out, so this was a big step for him. Day 4, we had a massive breakthrough. Now, as we get through the video, I think we were able to play with the partition, and we were definitely looking more into asking him to move his hindquarters over into the van. But as you can see, he was really sort of curious, and I rewarded that by asking him to come out. So after again giving him a bit of time to process, I felt like I could ask him to go in, and then again I left him to it, and he actually walked in pretty much by himself. I kind of guided him just before that, but he took the sort of, oh yeah, I'll go in. I didn't have to ask too much with the stick, I didn't have to use too much feel on the head collar, and then so I brought him out, and here I am reapproaching him. And I brought him out because I wanted to reward him for that lovely sort of try and thought of going in. Now I'm actually watching this back, I remember this day very, very clearly. Sorry, he did need the toilet and he did have a poo. And Spirit decided to knock over my phone. So this is kind of all the footage we have, but you can see he goes in again. And then this is what I sent to his owner, of him stood in there really, really happy. I'd asked him to move his hindquarters over a few times, and he had been great. He'd moved straight over without pushing on me. And then I played with the partition, so I opened it and closed it. If he stopped eating his hay, I'd wait, let him go back to his hay and relax, and open it again. But this was obviously after I'd worked on it for a while, thinking my phone was recording, when in fact Spirit had not to. You're going to have to excuse the fact I'm very much ready for bed. But just a quick side note, the next bit is not a voiceover. I actually have my mic on for a change, so enjoy. I'm just going to get Coco now. I'm not saying I'm an expert in the slightest, because I'm not. I have done quite a bit of loading practice with my own mare. Another quick side note, I would never have been able to get Harley comfortable with the lorry or anything, to be honest with you, without the help from bringing horses and humans together. She is one incredible lady who helped me a lot and has taught me so much. For a very long time, but finally got her comfortable in the lorry. And he had confidence with the lorry, but not as much as he'd kind of need. He's also still a bit worried about that. Also not enough so that he was kind of comfortable to go in by himself. So I could stand in there and he'd come in. I kind of wanted him to find his own confidence to say, yeah, I'm going in. So that's what I've been working on with him, and really keeping in mind that I just want him to be happy in there. He's a good boy. Because if he's happy in here, rather than kind of the mindset of, oh, I want him to go in, I just want you to be happy in here. Now, this is again my way of going about it. Everyone has their different opinions, and that's okay. Back. I do like to undo it with him. I just feel like it gives him a chance. You know the drill. It gives him a chance to have a little look at everything and understand it as well. So I kind of don't like putting a lot of pressure on him. It's kind of more just, yeah, we could go in, and then leaving him to it. Now he does kind of get, there's a point here where he gets a bit stuck, but it's become a lot quicker and a lot easier to work through it. But all I'd do is very gently ask him, can you think about going in? And even if his body weight changed, I'd take the pressure off, rewarding the thought of going in. But he knows exactly what. Good boy. And before, he'd throw his head up and kind of go out backwards, and I'd allow him, but I'd keep the pressure there. Well, to start with, if he wanted to come out backwards, I would ask him to go back. And now I can kind of keep the pressure there until he softens, and then I release. So he's currently processing, so I won't rush him. And when horses process, they kind of, lots of horses process in different ways, right? He processes by kind of going quite quiet, and then he'll lick and chew, yawn, just licked and chewed, and he'll come out of it. That's his way of processing. He's still actually processing, still licking and chewing. No, he's been in, he's happy going in, but this is the bit where it's like, don't push too much. Because if you push too much, you create a lot of pressure, and when a horse is slightly unsure, it can make them really quite upset. That is a good boy. So I rewarded the thought of going forwards. And I always like to ask him to kind of think in the box, not over by me, as much as it's lovely he wants a cuddle. I want him to be thinking inside the horse box. Yes, I do love you. I am very keen for Spone. I do love him. Okay. Good boy. He's a good boy. So he, this has come a lot quicker in a very short space of time as well. So and also when I've been doing sessions every single day, and that can be quite overwhelming. So normally you wouldn't do that, and you'd leave a bit more time in between, but I don't know how long it is till me and Mum will need the box. So I just wanted to get as much in as I possibly could before that. We might need it. Didn't even need the stick pressure, he already knew what that meant. A good boy. Good boy. I've heard a few people say about horses that are shut down or they're worried, and they say, well, they're not scared. But when you're scared, it doesn't always come out in the same way, right? Sometimes you freeze, sometimes you get angry. When I'm scared and nervous, I get quite impatient and a little, I'd say ratty. I get quite annoyed easily, quickly, irritated, because I'm anxious, and it's that fight response to feeling scared and anxious. So horses are very much the same. They don't always look scared in the way you would think they would. They're all different. Did you see that? I didn't even have to ask him to go in. He just did it himself. Now that took not a lot of time. And at the beginning, I spent about a whole hour with him just on the ramp. And he's just made the decision to go in by himself. Good boy. Now you can see he's a little unsure about putting his bum in. Now, as you would have seen from my other video, we have got to the point where he's happy to put his bum in. But I don't want to rush him. There's never any point in rushing a horse. It doesn't work. If they're not sure, they're not sure, basically. But what I am going to do is just ask the question, which he should understand, and if he doesn't, he can come out. There's no pressure. He's a good boy. He does understand the question. He knows exactly what I want him to do. There's no rush, there's no hurry. But I keep a bit of pressure on my lead rope. And a bit of pressure. Good boy. That was exactly what I wanted him to do. Move his bum over without pushing on me. So he, a few times, like I've loaded him, shut the partition, not quickly, but I've been shutting it because he's been needing to go somewhere, and that's fine. But I've been really trying to take the time with him to build up his confidence enough that he can just stand in there and have me play with the partition, which is where we're at now, which is a really good place to be, but I'm really proud of him. Move over. No, it's asking you a question. And you answer. And that answer's okay too. And again, it's about not rushing. So he's probably thinking, oh, she's going to shut that partition. I'm actually not. So yeah. So you can see he's not worried in here. I mean, there's a slight bit of anxiety, but he's eating, which is a great thing. Now once he's given me his head, good boy. I'm going to allow him to come out because I'm really proud of that. I mean, he's probably thinking, oh, just carry on eating. Do you see how he brings his bum back out? Right, that's what we're working on at the moment. Good boy. And I'm actually going to allow him to come out because I'm really proud of that. You can actually see how much that takes for him to be able to put his bum in that corner and put himself in a vulnerable position, and he did it. And so that's why I bring him out to reward him. Very, very pleased. As you can tell, I'm just going to check this is all still recording, otherwise I'm talking for no reason. We're not, it's all still there. So before that, if I asked him to move his bum over, his instant reaction was to come out, and I'd let him come out because I don't want him to feel trapped. So now he knows. And a few times he thought about coming out then, and he actually made the right decision not to. But I took the pressure off the second he started thinking about moving over. But I'm very proud of how far he's come in such little time. So, do you see, every time he does get stuck on the ramp, and that's okay, and I wait until he is ready to go in, not me. I could be like, get in. I wait until he's ready. He'll make the decision when he's ready, and I'll reward it so he knows, oh, that was the right decision, rather than going, you need to go in. That's not the correct way about it. And another really good thing to do when you're teaching a horse to load is to keep rubbing them all over, because if they're a bit claustrophobic like him, here's a good boy. If they're a bit claustrophobic like him, that can really help. Good boy. Wow, what a good boy. Good man. Super job. So you see he gets stuck on the ramp. If I kept pushing, and I get a feeling from him where it's like, yeah, I know I can go in, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to stop pushing and I'm going to leave you to make the decision. Because, I mean, before I'd have to keep asking, and that's fine, but it's instantly relieving. So the way I ask is, obviously I would have already explained this in the previous clips, but the stick in this hand, the stick is an extension of my arm. It's not used to harm him, it's not used to hit him, it's just an extension of my arm, so I can direct a bit of pressure towards his bottom, so ask him to go in, and my hand encourages. If he pulls back, the pressure stays the same, or I ask him to go back. I'm like, if you want to go in that direction, that's fine. But he's now at a place where if he kind of goes, I can keep the pressure the same, but go with him until he goes, oh, I can go forward, and then instantly relieve it. And then you don't get this vicious cycle of get in, and you create a lot of resistance on the head collar by just pulling them in. Can you stay there, partition? I know, it's not your turn yet. So yeah, and you never want to create resistance on your head collar. That is the worst thing you can do. So by pulling them around is not the option or the answer. So we're going to ask the same question. And I like to kind of open up my hand so that he knows I want his head to come round and not back, because it is kind of the same question. It's a very similar question. Good boy. And it can be a similar feeling on the head collar as well. But you know, it will take some time, but we're already so far in a matter of probably about 5 hours work, and I'm really proud of him. So allow his head round. He's obviously very happy tucking it into his haynet. That's all I want. I mean, can you think about moving his hindquarters over? Yes, you can. Oh, and the partition had shut on you. What a clever chap. What a clever chap, hey? So I'm really proud of that. He's relieving some tension through some gas, which is really good. And he actually feels a lot happier in here, just in general. I mean, he was happy in here, like he'd travel like an absolute angel, but there was just something that he was getting stuck with. And people can really misunderstand horses sometimes and think that they're being naughty. I've never come across a horse that's actually naughty. They're either reacting to pain, they're anxious, they're overwhelmed, sort of situation. I mean, people may have, I mean, that's my opinion. Everyone is allowed to their own opinion. If you think a horse is naughty, that's completely your opinion. I have never come across a horse that I find naughty. And I mean, it's very easy to misunderstand anxiety and lack of confidence with a horse just taking the mick. Now, I mean, it took me 15 minutes to load him the other weekend before I'd started any of this work, and there was still a bit of resistance there, and I'd kind of use a bit of food to encourage him in. Obviously using his haynet, but I'm able to now send him in from outside. I mean, I don't even have to ask now. So that's a massive improvement. I'm over the moon with him. So I am going to ask him to come out again, or if he's happy in there, I can leave him in there. I do like to just leave him. He's in a enclosed space, so I mean, he's in his field. So if he chose to come out, that's his own. And just playing with the partition is a really good thing, because you can kind of see where their comfort zone is. Good boy. As you can tell, I have done this. I did this yesterday, but Spirit, his field mate, knocked over my phone, so I didn't get it on video. And I hadn't even realised because I was so into what he was doing. Good boy. That is a good boy. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Again, he's still got a long way to go, I feel, to a point where I don't know, to be honest with you, because this isn't taking that long. It's probably taken about 10 minutes. So I'm going to use this just to push on him slightly and see how he reacts. See how he feels about that. Wow. So did you see? Wasn't too sure about that. Is a good boy. Wasn't too sure about the partition pushing on him, right? That's okay. But he moved over, which is why I opened it again. So you could tell there was a bit of anxiety there when it touched him. Made him feel a bit claustrophobic. He moved away from it. So I take the pressure off, because that's the reaction I'd obviously want when pressure's applied in a certain way. I'd want him to move over. He could have pushed on me. He didn't. But I could tell by his body language he was a little worried about it. And that's fine. And that's what we're working on at the moment, is getting him to give me his permission for it to be shut. So I did the same thing again. There's a good boy. Are you okay in there? Not quite ready? And I mean, I'm very proud of him. As I can tell, he's watching me. He's not fully relaxed in here. Good boy. Good boy. And then I take it off again. It's alright, I fell. Alright, mate. I fell. Good boy. So I'm going to ask him to come out again. Now I know you're probably thinking, shut everything up. Why are you not, going the extra steps? I want to give him time in between to think, because I know he's eating, but I want him to think. I mean, he's obviously quite happy in here, and I gave him the option, and that's fine, but I would like him to maybe come out, but not yet. He needs to move his bottom over first. His reward can be that he moved his bum over. Thank you. What a good man. I'd say we've come really far. Some people might say he was fine anyway. That's fine. But I can feel a big change in his way of thinking as well. He's not getting so worried. He is such a lovely boy, honestly. So a little bit of patience goes a long way, and I think that's the whole moral of this video, to be honest with you. Have patience, because they do talk to you in their own way, and if you listen, then they really do have a lot of respect for that. But when they're misunderstood, I mean, I think they can get quite upset, and yeah. So I think being patient and just allowing them to... Interesting. We had a release, but also a big huff. It's a new one on me, but do you see this? Licking and chewing. So, I'll ask him again, see what happens. Are you still licking and chewing? I'm no expert, but I'd say he was pretty willing to go in. I think he might need a tinkle, but that's okay. Try this. He's allowed to take as much time as he needs in here. There's never any time limit for him. Good boy. What a good man. You see, that's the part we're still working on, is the moving his bum over, but that's okay. And then we'll think at the moment. Not quite sure what he's thinking about, but something. Processing something. You're going to investigate, are you? You're going to turn around? You can if you like. I'm not going to tell you can't. There's a good boy. That's the important part, right? There's a good boy. Atta boy, atta good boy. And if I'm polite with him, he'll be polite with me, right? If I start getting angry and impatient, he'll feel that. And horses feel absolutely everything. Let me just check this mic is definitely still on. They feel everything. They feel if you've had a bad day. They feel if you're anxious. They feel if you don't believe in yourself. They feel anger. They feel every single emotion you could possibly feel. And if you start getting impatient and angry, they're going to get upset. They're going to wonder, what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? Rather than staying nice and calm and patient. Now, okay, yeah, if you look at my clips, they're very cut down. They're probably, each day I did about an hour less than with him. And it's probably going to be like a 30-minute video. And that seems long enough. If you're worried about something, the worst thing you can do is rush into it. And that's his kind of thinking. He's like, well, I'm not sure, so I don't want to go in. I'm like, okay, well, we can just stand on the ramp. That's fine. until you feel ready. I'll keep asking you the question, and when you give the correct answer of think, even just the thought of I can try and go forward, I release. That's his reward for thinking the correct thing. That makes it very black and white and very understandable for him that you get your release, your reward from my pressure when you think in the box, and I reward you trying, because he was getting quite stuck, and that's okay. Yeah, like, get stuck on the ramp. I'm not going to get cross with him. Instead, I reward when he thinks the correct way. You happy with that? What are you thinking? You watching me? And then we open it up again for him. Did it cause him a bit of anxiety? We put it back and we bring it back round again. He's aware of what I'm doing. He's watching me. When he goes back to his hay and he relaxes, I take the pressure off again, right? I was just laid down. I really hope he's not colicking. I think he's just having a snooze because he's very warm. Funny boy. You know that he's watching. You okay? Now I'm in quite a safe place with this partition. If he ran out, I can push the partition away and get out of the way. I know what I'm doing. It's okay. I can jump off the ramp, move the partition. You can also, if you're worried, stand this side of it. I don't know what I prefer. This side I don't feel like I could get out. Well, I could get out of the way as easily. You okay in there? Huh? You happy? And I'm going to ask him to come out again. You guessed it. Because actually, I don't want to push him past his comfort zone. And I was very proud of that. I also like the fact he doesn't want to rush out. That also means a lot. But I am just going to have a quick look at how long this video's been. So I know how long I've got, because I need to do my own horsies. Are you happy in there, are you? You want to go back to your hay? Okay. Well, you can do that if you want. I'm never going to say he's not allowed to do what he wants to do. Just had a bug go into my eye. I'm really not appreciating. That was horrid. It was a horrid experience. Mate. Well, I think he's definitely built his confidence being in there alone. You okay out there? Yeah? That's good. Good boy. So I put some pressure on with the partition. That time he didn't panic. That time he moved over, which shows me he kind of understands that now and he's not too worried. Next step. I'm gonna wait till he goes back to his hay. take it back down again. You're allowed to have a look. Good boy. Good boy. See, he was interested in it. I didn't say he couldn't look at it. He's not tied up, so he can if he wants to. Absolutely not bothered that time. And this is another reason why I've been doing this holding him, because then he sees it. You know, I'm doing it and he's watching, and he'll understand it when it happens when he's in there. Good boy. Quite happy, he says. And then ask him to come out, see if that changed how he feels about going in, and then it will be the next step of shutting it. Hello. How do you feel about that, huh? You come out? Or do you want to eat your hay? What are you thinking? See, can you see how I add something in? It changes how he feels. The last few times I've been playing with the partition, he's not been worried. Do you want to come out, or do you want to stay in? I'm going to let him have the choice, I think. I think I would like you to come out, to be honest. Yeah, she's been very good. Well, if he's happy, I'm happy. But I think by having the mindset of, well, you can if you want to. You can come out if you want to. He's like, oh, I might just stay in. Whereas if I went, you need to stay in here, he might feel a bit more anxious about that. And a bit more like, well, why do I need to stay in here? Yeah, you can have a sniff. You can give it a sniff. There's a good boy. Huh. Wait till he goes back to his hay. And then it's next step time. Then it's this step. Now this is what I think he's going to worry about. One sec. I'm going to have to cut this session short. But to be honest with you, I think it's a nice place to leave it anyway. What a good boy. What a good boy. And then the next step will be closing the entire thing up. Right. Got to go and put my horses in now. Yay. Nice relieved of tension, which is exactly what you want. What a good boy. What a good boy. So I'm going to close the whole thing up and then go and get my horses in. I'm getting caught outside because the van's not level. Good boy. Good boy. Well done. I love this pony so much, and I think he might love me too. Hey baby. Right, and that's the end of this. Excuse the extremely sweaty, greasy hair. It's been a very long day working, shopping, riding, playing with Bootsy at Liberty. Just a very, very long day. So I'm going to do a quick outro and just say thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comment them down below or private message me on Instagram. It's con, same as my YouTube. I hope you enjoyed and see you in the next video.